Agentic browsers are the next big thing. But what are they? Agentic browsers not only conduct searches and display websites, they'll actually navigate the web and websites on their own and conduct actions for you. The browser is integrated with a large language model, so it's capable of working on its own according to your directions. Now, Perplexity has released an excellent agentic browser. Microsoft has just released an agentic version of Edge. OpenAI is going to release an agentic browser any day now. And I'm sure Google's going to release one as soon as it figures out how not to lose all its ad revenue. Today we'll review the Perplexity and Edge browsers. I'm Bill Eastman, and this is the AI for Your Business channel. It's the channel business people can come to quickly learn how they can leverage AI. Click on the subscribe button below to be sure not to miss any tips and tools. We'll begin by reviewing how agentic browsers differ from current browsers and the agentic tools we've reviewed previously. We'll then look at some use cases that leverage these capabilities and demo a few. We're going to focus on the Perplexity browser because it's the most advanced at this point. Now, if you go into one of these browsers, it looks pretty much like any other browser you've used. In fact, both the Perplexity browser shown here and the Edge browser are built on the same source Chromium platform as Google Chrome. But the magic happens when you go to the upper right and click the assistant icon. That gives us the chat pane where we can leverage the integration of AI into the browser. So, what can you do with this AI integration? I'm sure you've seen Chrome's AI overviews or even tried its AI mode, and these agentic browsers have that capability. But they also have capabilities similar to what we reviewed with OpenAI's operator and Claude's connectors. That is, they can conduct actions on the web and work with other apps. But the way these agentic browsers work with other apps is different than the way OpenAI and Claude do. Claude's connectors work with an app by connecting to its application programming interface. Agentic browsers work like an automated human, going to the websites of applications like HubSpot and navigating the pages and clicking and entering information. OpenAI's operator, now called Agent Mode, does this, but it works by opening web pages and using screenshots to understanding the contents and layout and maneuvering accordingly. Agentic browsers read the underlying website documentation known as the document object model and work with that. So, agentic browsers are more reliable than OpenAI's approach to agentic actions, but less reliable than the approach of working directly with application APIs. At the same time, they give more flexibility than the API approach. Okay, let's take a closer look at Perplexity's browser, Comet. Until a few days ago, Comet was only available on Perplexity's $200 a month plan, but now it's available on the $20 a month plan. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another subscription? That does give you access to models from OpenAI, Gemini, and Claude, as well as some of the research and document creation tools we see from them. So you can make a call on whether it's worth it to add Comet to an existing subscription or to replace it. But if you're coding or doing other advanced applications, then you definitely won't replace your current subscription with Comet. We'll begin with Comet's more standard features and progress to its agentic actions. Comet's homepage looks similar to Google's AI mode, and if we enter a question, the output is similar to what we get in AI mode. Now, if we open up a web page, then Comet is also similar to Chrome and Edge in its ability to see what you see on the screen and discuss it. Where Comet achieves a bit of separation from Chrome and Edge is its ability to work with multiple web pages and discuss them. Now, Edge just closed this gap with its new Copilot mode, but Chrome is still lagging on rolling out the feature. If you've been doing your own internet research, it's a great way to consolidate info from multiple sources. And Comet's also great for summarizing and pulling key points out of YouTube videos. Edge also picked up this capability with its new Copilot mode, but Chrome still doesn't offer it. It'll save you beaucoup time when you're going through videos trying to learn. And if you see a point you like in Comet's write-up, you can ask Comet for the point in the video it was discussed so you can go back and look at it. Pretty cool. These features alone would make Comet a great choice for your web browser, but what really sets it apart are its agentic features. Let's start with connectors. Despite what I said a minute ago, Comet does have a few connectors similar to those found in Claude. As you can see, there are still only a few basic ones, but I'm sure that list will grow. Once you've connected to an app, you can interact with it in Comet similarly to how we demonstrated in our Cloud MCP episode. In addition to allowing you to combine data and sources such as Google Drive with the data in your web search, it allows you to create or edit sources like you would manually. Let's show an example with Gmail. Can you check the emails that I've exchanged with Don Johnson? As you can see, Comet works quite quickly, coming back with a nice overview. And you can ask for more details, such as reviewing the contents of attachments. And of course, Comet can take care of writing and sending emails for you. Please send an email to Don Johnson covering these points. Our legal team has given tentative approval. Initial shipment, 1,000 units. It's risky, want a 15% price reduction. And Comet comes back quickly with the draft, and we give the go-ahead. And here we find the email in Don Johnson's inbox. We can also set up a meeting and send an invite. Please create the following calendar item and send the calendar invite. Thursday, August 21st, 2 to 3, sent to Don Johnson, subject, shipment conditions. And we find the meeting in our calendar. And here in Don Johnson's inbox, we see the invite. Now, note you can do all this using Perplexity's app on your phone. So I think you'll agree it's an awesome tool for managing communications and meetings on the go. Now, I know there are those of you who are going to say, Bill, I use my CRM app to manage my communications and meetings. And that's a fair point. If you do just want to work with your CRM, that's where Comet's autonomous navigation comes in. As I mentioned earlier, Comet has the ability to navigate to websites and perform actions on them. That capability allows Comet to carry out personal assistant tasks similar to what you might do with Model Context Protocol. At this point, I wouldn't make your task too complex, but there's still a lot you can do. I'm going to list some example use cases, then we'll demo a few of them. In general, it's best to use Comet's agentic actions for tedious tasks. Because Comet can click around within websites like a person, there are all sorts of activities it can undertake, but we're going to focus on those for your business. First of those could be form filling. So Comet can connect to sources like spreadsheets and CRM and use that information to fill out forms for your business. You can also post on social media. So Comet can connect with LinkedIn and Twitter and post based upon your directions and new data and announcements. It can also scan social media, so it can go out there and look for important messages and trending topics. And in regards to CRM, you can perform actions in HubSpot or Asana, ranging from adding contacts to reviewing communications. And similarly with project management, you could, say, create a Trello Board and Cards based upon documents and files. And then there's web scraping. So Comet can also scrape data, such as pricing or news from a website, and enter that info into a spreadsheet or document. So these are some fundamental use cases for Comet's agentic capabilities, but you're really only limited by your imagination. To conduct agentic actions in Comet, open up the assistant. You can use the phrase "take control" with your prompt, and the assistant will put a blue line around the screen. That signals that the assistant is controlling the page's document object model, allowing it to click buttons, type text, navigate to other pages, and so on. If you give a complex command, then Comet will show you its plan before it proceeds. Note that good prompting practices are especially important with agentic actions. See my episode on intermediate prompting for more tips. All right, let's try a few. Let's start with a LinkedIn posting example. In your feeds, you see an interesting announcement relevant to you and your clients' businesses. Let's create a LinkedIn post referencing it. Draft a LinkedIn post for me about this article. Start by calling it a super practical tool, ... Show me the draft. The Comet Assistant makes quick work of the write-up and gives the go-ahead to post on LinkedIn. Note that this is where the absence of connectors comes into play. Because Comet isn't connected to LinkedIn, you must have LinkedIn open in a tab so that Comet can navigate it. But once you've done that, you have a LinkedIn post. Now, obviously, that doesn't save you a lot of time just, from what you could do copying the link and posting it yourself. But that's where the fun starts. You see this article from PR Newswire website, which has a constant feed of articles. We can have Comet navigate the site to pull similar articles from that day and bring them all back. Please scan prnewswire.com over the last day for similar articles, i.e. those related to AI and small business automation. It's amazing how quick it works, but let's take it a step further. Comet has a task functionality that allows you to schedule your prompts. So we're going to ask Comet to scan PR Newswire each morning at 8 a.m. for relevant articles. Then it's going to email those articles to me along with a template for me to choose which article to post and add comments to. Comet will use that to create a LinkedIn post. Here's a sample prompt. Each weekday at 8, scan PR Newswire for the latest news, so on. Gather and summarize the two or three most relevant news press releases, email them to me, include a template, and if no highly relevant content is found, note that in the summary. And here's an example of what it looks like in your inbox. All you need to do is respond, and your LinkedIn post is taken care of. Now, I just used PR Newswire for a simple example, but keep in mind that you can scan multiple sources, including Twitter and LinkedIn post. Now let's try an example in the CRM realm. Previously, we reviewed examples of automating with HubSpot using Zapier and Model Context Protocol, but you can also perform tasks using Comet. Just as with LinkedIn, you'll need to have HubSpot open so that Comet can navigate it, but otherwise it works similarly. In this case, we've received an email from a prospective client. We're going to enter them as a contact and respond with a proposed call time. Here's the email. So I saw your invoice software mention. Need some help. Can we schedule a brief call next week to discuss? Thanks, William Eastman. Eastman Custom Framing and Supply. And here's our prompt for responding. Scan the latest email in my inbox from William Eastman, create a new contact for him in HubSpot using his name, email, title, and so forth. Then create a new deal called Eastman Framing Invoice Software associated with him and set the deal stage to qualify to buy. Also, please send a Gmail accepting his invite to talk and suggesting Thursday, August 21st from 2 to 3. And let's check out what Comet's doing in HubSpot. Unfortunately, it looks like a failure on the HubSpot side. It was unable to create the contact. It looks like Comet got confused since there was already a different Bill Eastman contact and it was being set up on Bill Eastman's HubSpot account. This action didn't fail in a practice run, so we see the generative AI used here can still not be fully reliable, and hopefully it improves in future versions. We will give the go-ahead to its email draft for the client, and that does work. So obviously we had an issue here with HubSpot. Perhaps giving slightly less complex commands will smooth things out. Okay, one more demo of Comet's agentic capabilities. In this scenario, we have a cafe in Duluth, Georgia, and our espresso machine is on its last legs. We have a few go-to suppliers, but they offer a wide range of espresso machines, and exploring all of them is a burden. So we're going to ask Comet to comb through these offerings, put their key features in a spreadsheet so we can compare them side by side, and make a preliminary recommendation. I'm sure by now everyone's used ChatGPT to do some shopping, but what sets Comet apart is its ability to scrape and organize a large amount of info from a page. Here's our prompt. I need to research new espresso machines, create a Google Sheet on my drive called Espresso Machine Options, create columns for retailer brand so-and-so. Go to webstaurantstore.com and populate the spreadsheet with the information from there. And below are the filters for the espresso machine. 2 groups, NSF certification, price between $2,000 and $5,000. And it does take Comet a little time to go through this, so I ran it in advance. It is interesting to watch its thinking as it goes along. You see, it's definitely not a straight line process like what you have with Zapier or MCP. But at the end, here's our spreadsheet with our candidates. For this example, I just searched one website, but you can have Comet search multiple websites if you like. Frankly, after all the coolness that we get from Comet, going to Edge Copilot mode is a bit of a downer. Copilot does give us some of the capabilities that we saw in Comet, but Microsoft says that any agentic capabilities won't be there till the next release. There is no extra cost for Copilot in Edge, though, so there is that. Here we see Copilot's ability to explore multiple tabs at once. We'll ask Copilot to compare the contents of the pages. Please identify topics covered in both open tabs and compare and contrast their coverage. And we get an idea of how it can be used to analyze various media and make it easier to distinguish viewpoints and biases. Now, if you click on the microphone, it goes into Copilot Vision, but oddly enough, it can't see what you're doing on the page like it can when you're using Office products. So overall, I got to say that Copilot mode is hardly worth the bother. Okay, that's it for today. I have to admit I'm more excited about Comet than I was going in, and can see how for many it can be a replacement for Zapier or MCP. Now, its reliance on web navigation over API connectors still makes it tricky for production use. Its speed, flexibility, and ease of use makes it an attractive choice for many users. But if you have any questions or would like more details, please leave a comment. Next episode, we'll be starting our social media and marketing series. AI and automation tools make it easier than ever to enhance your presence, and I know many of you will get some real value from it. So, please subscribe to not miss these and other ways to optimize your use of AI. And if you've gotten some value today, please leave a like. Till next time, good luck with your business.